Santimano. My background is actually quite varied. I worked in the catering industry, hospitality. I worked on cruise ships as well, worked in the voluntary sector, charity sector, NHS. So it's a varied background I have, but I was born and brought up in Bombay, India. I came in the 90s to Scotland, and this is my home now. You Can Cook is a social enterprise, a community interest company. What we basically do is we go anywhere in Scotland or even the UK and we deliver cookery programs, workshops, demos, talks, seminars on health, nutrition. But the foundation of You Can Cook is to teach people how to cook from scratch. Because in my research, when I did, I realized people cook a very good lasagna, a very good casserole dish, a nice sausage hot pot, but that's it. That's it. They didn't know how to move from one recipe or dish to another. They became masters in what they were. And what I realized was there was a huge gap in, for example, television. You have so many programs on television on cooking, but still the country doesn't cook. And I discovered why. The reason is people look at the chefs, it's nice and entertaining, all these fashionable knives and chopping boards, and many people believe they need to have that. They didn't have the money to buy them and all the stuff. So, what I said is you need a chopping board, you need one knife, and off you go. So, for me, the idea being coming from my culture where I grew up in is if you know how to cook from scratch, you can then deviate and move in any direction you want. That's it. It's as simple. So You Can Cook is creating awareness, teaching people how to cook from scratch. When I came to this country, I was doing jobs. My last official job was in the voluntary sector in Edinburgh, actually, strangely enough. And I worked also for the civil service for my sins. And jobs can be very restricting. They don't allow you to flow, expand. And I was feeling something missing, and I love food. So my first business that I set up was a personal chef business in Edinburgh and in the borders where I lived, where I went into rich people's home and five-star self-catering accommodations and cooked Goan, Portuguese, Brazilian influenced food because my family comes originally from Goa and we settled in Bombay when I was growing up. So personal chef was I went to the client's place, house, even the house, and cooked from scratch, served the food in the traditional Portuguese Goan influence way, cleared up, and off I went. So I made good money with that, but I was feeling something missing. I'm feeding probably the 10% of the population that had disposable income. Good people, nice people. And I thought I want to do something that it can go to anyone, irrespective of whether they can afford me or not. That's when I was thinking what to do, the report of the Scottish government and NHS Scotland 5-year report, 2000 to 2005, came onto my desk, and I was like, oh, obesity, food related problems were going to become huge in Scotland from 2025 onwards, literally. And we are almost there. Okay. And I thought, oh, so what are the issues? So this report actually tells you what the issues are, which was lack of awareness, but also lack of skills and knowledge to cook their own food. And which is why I came back to before. There's so many cookery programs, I think too many on television, on different channels, but people are not cooking. Why? And I discovered there were barriers. They were like, I can't cook like that, I can't chop like that, I can't do like that, you know. And so what I designed was a program where I wanted to inspire people. That's why my template of cooking is go teach people how to cook, raise the awareness, but allow them to cook in the way that they feel comfortable. I don't tell them hold a knife like this, hold a knife like this, the chopping board has to be this. No. What I say is as long as you are safe in how you're holding it and chopping the vegetables or meat or fish or whatever, it's fine. And that's when my passion, and I felt completely in sync, and I felt it's been now 18 years. I'm surprised I'm still here. And a lot of people actually, to be fair to them, these are business experts in those days, didn't give my business a chance. They were like, this is not going to work, Bosco. Now they're all hiding from me because I'm still here while all the organizations that were supposedly supposed to do good and continue have gone. And so I feel blessed, grateful that I'm still here. I have done amazing stuff with people across Scotland, and what more can I ask for? It fulfilled beyond what I could actually dream of what You Can Cook could do. My aim for You Can Cook has always been to reach as many people as possible, and especially people who are off the radar of government, even though the government says we are pouring money to resolve these issues. Personally, I don't believe they are doing it in the right way. There's money, but I believe money is being spent in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. And that's why 18 years of what I've been doing, things haven't improved. And in fact, You Can Cook is actually more relevant today than it was when I started out. And my aim is to keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully, reach the people that really need me. And as an organization, I actually pick and choose which partners I'm working with. Are they equally passionate about what I'm doing? If they are not, I've walked away. A funding came to me for about quarter of a million, and I had to adapt to fit into the framework criteria. This is what they were going to do in the next few years. And I said, but this is old. This is 30, 40-year-old stuff. We have to move on. This is what is currently required. And they went, well, we're giving you money only if you tailor what you're doing to us. And I just got up and said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And they were shocked. They were like, what? You're walking away from all this money? And I said, I left my private sector job, my business to do this. And if I'm going to compromise my ethics and morals just because of the money, sorry, I can't do this. And they were literally, they couldn't believe it. They were like, are you sure? Are you sure? You don't. And I went, no, no. I said, that's why we are here in this 5-year political cycle. Nothing is happening, nothing is changing. And the biggest drawback for me was, which I was being told, that Bosco, what you're doing is long term. So unfortunately, it doesn't fit into any government's criteria because they are just the cyclical 5-year period. They want to show, look what we did in the last 5 years of being elected, blah blah blah. And unfortunately, you don't fit into that. And I was like, oh bugger, I chose the wrong social enterprise service. I'm joking. But, it hits you. And then you go, so people, governments, society are not really getting to grips with the issue here. And even in my 18 years now, it's still the same problem. Nothing has changed. And I'm like, but I know for me, things have changed. I know people, clients have appreciated the places where I go. Children, especially, love what they learned through us. And the best thing I say to a lot of people is, well, at least I sleep well at night, knowing that I have given my 100% all the time since I started this journey. So I want to continue doing that as long as I can. I didn't want to do a charity because I wanted to get up and go. Like today, I'm filming with you. I can do that. I don't have to go to the board, get meetings, approval of people who most of the time don't understand. And I have been on boards and I have seen, and I'll be upfront here. I'm always actually upfront, which is probably the problem. Sometimes you get the wrong people on boards who have their egos coming in the way of what they're actually meant to do. And I was clear. in my image what I wanted to do. And I was researching all the different legal entities, from charities to community benefit societies to skios came much later on. Then CIC I came across and I read the legislation. Now this is how crazy I am. I didn't have the money to pay a lawyer in Glasgow to do something for me in terms of the setting up a CIC because it was very new. Even my sector was like, whoa, that's new. We don't know whether it's a social enterprise. And I'm like, so I printed the whole legislation into a folder. Within 6 months, read the whole thing of CICs, which is PLCs, CIC with guarantee and with shares. And then I was like, oh, I became a lawyer overnight. And I'm like, CICs, that is what a social enterprise is because it allows you to do without hindrance or barriers to serve the public, but as a business. And off I went. And I set up my own CIC, by the way. So I saved 1,200 quid those days in 2007. But this is to go back, and I say this to people who are coming into the sector. Spend time exactly understanding what is it you want to do and why. If your why is because I want to make money, I want to do this, then please go to the charity sector or the private sector. That's it. Don't come into this because the reason for this was very different. And that's why I went down this route. And it's been a great journey. Even till today, there are struggles. It's difficult, sorry. But I'm happy I did what I did. And I believe 100% today, looking back, I chose the right legal format, CICs. No regrets. With You Can Cook, we don't have a template. What we do is we speak to the clients, to the groups, and we devise a bespoke program. Because we believe I'm not here to go and cook. For example, we are in Ox Gangs. If people like a casserole here, I go to Leith, they may hate a casserole. So I'm not going to do a casserole there. So I ask people there what is it they would like to learn. Because the intention is they go home and do it after having taken part in cooking the dish as well. So it's cookery classes, cookery workshops, demos. We also have about three services which now we are in the process of targeting corporates in Edinburgh and Glasgow, which is energized lunches, which is our banner here, which is accredited by Abete University. This is aimed at employees, what to eat and drink during a working day and a week. What foods make you sluggish, lazy, sleepy, and what makes you irritable. So I always say, if after lunch your boss is very horrible to you, or before lunch, you know it's got to do with the food or drink he or she has eaten or drank. It's to give an insight into how food triggers your behavior. So that's energized lunches. Then we have what is called what's in your lunchbox. This is a talk. So we go in, we tell people, employees to come and bring their food and drink or what they normally have. And we go through them to, it's not to shame them, it's just to show these food and drinks affect your mind, affect your body, and in what way. And so to be aware of that as well. And the other one is food as medicine. That is around using food as a tool if you have any common ailments like cold, fevers, flus, allergies, whatever, what to do with that workshop. So these are the three main ones that we are currently going to target the corporate, as I said, Edinburgh and Glasgow. And I was thinking, how do I get people all together? I grew up in India. We had different religions, different cultures, sitting all together at a table. I'm like, I need to bring that here. Sit around the table, eat food. Because food for me is I think, the only thing that brings people together, irrespective of your political or religious ideologies. So for me, that was my main goal, part of also reaching out to people who can't cook and giving them the tools. Just on that note, as I said, we partnered with organizations. We partnered years ago with IKEA. We were working with a very deprived community who didn't have the tools. So IKEA, bless them, gave us 12 big packs of kitchen startup tools. I gave them 35 items. They came back saying, Bosco, we can only give you 12 to 15. And I said, yeah, but it won't serve its purpose. I said, and I left it. And they said, come and pick it up. And I was surprised. They actually gave me all the 35 items. And this is what I say. I'm a strong believer in that. If you believe in doing what you're doing from your heart, things come to you to make that happen. And so this group of people that didn't have any tools had all these amazing, brand new. I was like, I should have been there still learning as well because I didn't have some of those tools in my own home. But the point is, that's what I'll go, and my staff and my board goes that extra mile without thinking, oh, this is our role. And I think a lot of organizations in our sector don't go beyond or can see beyond. And I think I'm lucky that I could do that, but also get like minded people who were willing to support me in going beyond. And it's not a one man show. Yes, I founded it, but I wouldn't be here without my board, my staff, my volunteers over the years. So I'm grateful to all of them. The ideas came about during the pandemic when everything was shut down. And over the years, people have asked us, do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have cooking videos? And we were like, no, we didn't want to do that. Because as I said, it goes back to the premise of my research. There are so many videos. There are millions of videos of cooking on YouTube, tons on the TV. it, in my opinion, it doesn't do anything. But then when people kept asking us, I thought, okay. So during the pandemic, a local hotel gave us the option to use their kitchen to film. And we did research to find out what works and doesn't work on social media or YouTube sort of thing. And our research showed that there are long, winding cooking videos where people are talking and talking. And even my board and staff were like, Bosco, you need to front these. You're so charismatic. I said, yeah, after 5 minutes, you'll go, God, shut up. Just show me what to cook. I said, let's come up with an idea that we just focus on the food. We don't focus on the person who's doing it because that's the main thing. So the idea came about focusing on the food, and we decided to make it short videos. Maximum, I think, our video is 3.5 minutes to 1 minute to 3.5 minutes. And the reason being is we discovered, especially young people, their attention span is very short. Of course, we couldn't make 10-second videos. So we had to come up with something that is snappy, that is, quick, and people can pause and stop and pause and whatever. So the videos came about thinking about all these ideas through research that we found out. And we have over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's doing well. And I think we are now in that phase. We're trying to promote all our YouTube channels. Facebook, we have over 100K followers. Instagram, I think around 57 or something followers. So it's an ever changing, as you will understand, social media, and we have to constantly put content on it, which at the moment we are struggling with because of resources. Well, we have achieved quite a few milestones. One is we were the first social enterprise in Scotland, and I'm very proud of this, to be featured on the BBC Two Landward series as a social enterprise, where we were working with Eastern European migrants who had moved to the borders. And Eildon Housing Association asked us, can we do a project getting locals and Eastern Europeans who had moved in together under a food banner? We have a subsidiary called You Can Grow. We were the first social enterprise in the UK, I think we still are, that built an organic training garden on school grounds, primary school grounds in the borders, in Inner Leithen. It is called the Edible Garden. It was done in 2015. it is still active, still running. The pupils are using it. So for me, that in a way is my biggest achievement as you can cook, you can grow as well. The other thing I'm proud to say is we had living wage coming in to audit us to see what we are doing, and I'll remember the person who was uh, interviewing us together as a group and interviewed staff and board separately. And then he went, I need to speak to you separate. I was like, oh my God, what have my staff said? And he pointed out two things, a couple of things. He said, we have never come across an organization where over 80% of the people involved are women. I'm like, oh. He says, if I had an award to give you for that, he says, no other organization has what you have. I was like, oh, I mean, it's not something I work towards. It happened. And then they said, you are also the first food and training social enterprise in Scotland that is being accredited with the living wage basically as well. The other thing they discovered was we were paying the living more than the living wage before even the living wage came into existence as well. So he was quite pleased. He was like, it's so refreshing to actually come across an organization that is doing this way before people are thinking about it. And I said, thank you, you made my day. I said, am I going to get some money for it? He said, sorry, Bosco, we don't give money, but you'll get the living wage award. And I also started writing a food column, which I'm still doing around you can cook, around food, environment, health, nutrition. And because of you can cook, I also got the opportunity to lecture at Edinburgh University. So I teach as a guest lecturer. So I teach students who are doing MSc in environmental sustainability and planetary health. So I do sort of lectures for both these departments as well. And I get guest lecturing offers like from King's College in London I've got during the pandemic, and sometimes from organizations that want to come and, you know, hear from me about my journey and all that stuff as well. So it's been an amazing ride and no regrets whatsoever. People ask me, would you go back and do something different? My board always raps me for not looking after myself, always putting clients and staff first. And I'm like, I'm okay. And I want to probably end this maybe. In India, I grew up with a philosophy that there are three things you need in life. If you have them, everything else is actually you're living a luxurious life. The first thing is food to eat, clothes to wear, roof over your head. Anything else? So I always had that. So I'm always grateful to have had these three things. And I know many people don't have that, even in this country now. They're struggling with homelessness and all that stuff. So for me, it's a driver. My board sometimes is not happy that I'm not taking care of myself, and all that stuff. And my argument is, well, I can do this, I'll do this. And they try to remind me, look, you're a social enterprise, you have to make the money. And I'm saying, yeah, I am. But given a choice to help someone and think about my balance sheet and cash flow as a human, I can't do that. Of course, I'm not putting myself at huge risk here financially, but so that's been the gist of you can cook, you can grow. With You Can Grow currently, it's in hibernation. But what we can offer is any community anywhere in Edinburgh or Scotland for that matter that wants to set up a community garden from scratch. So we have all the tools. We can go in, we can look at the soil, we can make sure that it's okay to start growing, and we can then give them all the policies and processes to set up, help them do that for a year or two, make them sustainable, and then move on. So what our principle has always been with You Can Cook is we are not here forever to literally benefit you through money or to extract money because we are here with you. No, we want to empower you, give you all the tools, make sure you're okay to go by yourselves, and then move on. That's it. With the growing bit, I want to show this book. This again is the UK's first social enterprise that published a book for growers. And this was from the edible garden I was talking about. This has tools whereby anyone that has no idea about growing can pick up a book and just flick through it and go, oh, I want to grow pumpkins. Oh, no, maybe potatoes, I'll try, and start. And we have given ideas that you can use household items so you don't have to buy everything. Also, where you can go to get seeds. So, most of it is you don't have to probably pay anything, just go and grow. And we used organic and permaculture principles of how to grow because we completely don't like the use of pesticides and fertilizers in our food as well. So this is also one of our biggest achievements. A book, which by the way is going to be a collector's edition. We are going to print another edition, but it's going to be a simple booklet form of it basically in the future. So that's you can grow book. Well, one of the biggest drawbacks we had as an organization from a financial perspective was I didn't wait. I just went and did it. And because I did that, I was penalized by funding streams because I didn't fit. I passed their criteria, and no regrets because I don't wait for a perfect situation. Uh, and one of the things this organization has never had, and I want to state this on record, we have never got paid in any shape or form co-cost, which I believe should be a milestone, and we all should be getting an MBE for this. Organization is surviving which had no co-cost. Now, a lot of this statement will baffle all the rest in the sector. How the hell did he manage to do that? But it's possible. As I said, I didn't want to wait to fulfill a criteria in order to get the money. I felt there was a need, I went and did it. So if there was some support even at this stage in terms of getting our co-cost, because we already have the experience, we already have the stats, we have the evidence, we have the proof, we have everything. If someone can come and says, okay, Bosco, we're going to support you can cook now with the co-cost, so you can just go what you have already built on. So I'm not starting from scratch. I can actually go and deliver across Scotland. Okay, that would be great to have co-cost covered. The other thing is there's another strand of it which is called You Can Eat. Part of it was to open an eatery in Edinburgh, which we failed in our attempt to get investment to open an eatery, and I think the timing was wrong because of the pandemic and the staffing and the energy crisis and all the stuff. So, in other words, investment. I would say I wouldn't say even grant investment to an organization like us that has actually delivered and got huge evidence to prove what we are doing and the way we are doing has impacted communities across Scotland, especially children. So I would say at this stage, bluntly, monetary support, not just support of, oh, we'll teach you how to do this and that. No, give me money and we can go and deliver what we have actually perfected. Yes, collaboration is a must, partnership, whatever you want to call it. And we, as an organization, are proud to say from day one, we have actually worked with our partners, organization, community groups, schools, universities to deliver and actually make bespoke programs. And I think that's our biggest selling point in terms of we actually pinpoint and target what that group needs. And which is why I like to believe we are successful because of that reason. Yeah. It's a very nice compact, small city. I remember it in the 90s. Many parts were quite rundown. It's interesting to see 25 odd years later, many of these areas have actually uh, redeveloped. And when I say redeveloped, not from just a construction perspective, but more and more thriving communities are being formed. And I think I would like to feel I'm right in feeling this. People are realizing life is not about money, assets, cars, houses. They're realizing at the end of the day, you need somebody next to you, a neighbor that can look out, for you if anything you need or whatever. And I think people are beginning to understand that community is what counts at the end of the day. Relationships with your neighbors or your community center or activities count. And I think Edinburgh is lively, is buzzy. It's a beautiful city. I'm now actually come back to live in it after living in the borders for 20 years. So when people ask, oh, in the borders, it's beautiful. I said, yeah, I served my sentence there for 20 years. They let me off on parole and I've been released to go and create havoc in the in the capital city. Well, we are currently doing a marketing plan research, coming up with a marketing flyer PDF to target these three workshops to the corporate sector. That's something we have never done because, as I said, we never had the core costs and the resources to target specifically. And we believe this is the right time. And I'm also now living in Edinburgh. It's easier for me to just walk to an office like Standard Life or whatever, and say, look, this is what we do. And I want to promote that now fully to Edinburgh and Glasgow. But that doesn't mean just these two cities. It could be UK wide.